Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin and Cardano. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Bitcoin chart and the Cardano chart and all cryptos pretty much correcting down. And yes, this probably has to do to some degree with the Ukraine and the conflict going on there. My argument is it would have happened anyway, might have taken a little bit longer. You know, we talked about these price areas for many cryptos back end of November, early December. And back then we didn't really have that conflict yet, at least not in the media to that degree. And yeah, it would have happened anyway. And you probably know my reason and my thinking about it if you've been following my channel, that these are corrections that need to happen anyway. They need to happen in young markets, and we need to get to these Fibonacci retracement zones that I've been talking about in many videos, just to finish the correction off and to allow the crypto market to move back to new all-time highs. So obviously in these videos it's all about technical analysis, not about the context in which it's going on, because in the chart you can already see a lot of that stuff, because a lot of that stuff is already priced in. Okay, and there are so many news coming out every day, it's just impossible to try to find the one reason that is responsible for a sell-off. That people have done that, people try to do that all the time, get a lot of clicks for it, but for me it's all about technical analysis, because otherwise you can it's impossible really to do a proper analysis. And yeah, in the charts it's already all priced in. That's how financial markets work. That is how I personally see it. All right, we are here in on the Bitcoin chart. First we start with Bitcoin. See actually quite a bit of a sell-off today across the altcoins, especially Bitcoin still holding fairly well compared to where it was yesterday. So again, for everybody who's new, my expectation is we're gonna at some point land here in this target area, maybe fairly soon. This target area is sitting between 20 and 28.7k, and we're currently here in an Elliott Wave ABC correction within a wave 2, after we completed here a wave 1, a wave 1 back in April. So if I zoom in, we can see that obviously what is very important here on this chart is this ascending trend line. That is the neckline of that head and shoulders pattern that did form here. We then had an attempted inverse head and shoulders pattern, yeah. But as we talked about it back then, this inverse head and shoulders pattern did only retest the ascending trend line from below, bearish signal. When that happened, we also expected here a sell-off. That has been my primary expectation throughout anyway, and even this move up did do what it needed to do. It did not even move higher than my target area back then, so all of that was also going according to plan, and it could really be that we're now already in that final sell-off stage here to the downside. It all depends on how fast this is now going to play out. We have here on the chart the potential how this could be turning out. So we already have labeled this as a wave 1 to the downside, a wave 2 to the upside, a wave 3 to the downside, a wave 4 to the upside, which also reached its target area here. Yeah, it did what it needed to do in a wave 4, which doesn't mean that, you know, the wave 3 is already finished. Maybe it's already still going on. Maybe the wave 4 will be somewhere here. So that's how at the moment I can interpret this. Yeah, in the end, these are really the micro movements. Yeah, the overall final wave 5 or final wave sell-off is pointing down, right? So whatever kind of small volatility movements are happening in here, they are sometimes impossible to forecast anyway. We can talk about the trend direction, we can talk about what the Elliott Wave patterns tell us, and what I try to do in these micro movements here is really to try to make sense of the chart and give you an orientation of where prices could be heading, and make you understand that prices don't move in a straight line typically, so there's always a breathing in, a breathing out. And yeah, as pretty much expected as well, you know, we talked about Bitcoin being in this descending, broadening wedge, okay, and it found support here at the lower support line of that descending wedge. And now again, tipping point. From here, there are two options, of course. It could break out to the downside. If it breaks from here to the downside, I think we can expect very, very fast a move down to 33k. That is the previous swing low. As you can see here, Bitcoin is at decision point, first of all, within this broadening descending wedge, which by the way is a bullish pattern. We talked about it in the last video. And typically you would expect, you would expect, but with a higher probability, you would expect this actually to break out to the upside. And the target of that would be 41K. Of course, it doesn't need to happen. I've said many times in videos that chart patterns don't always work out as they are described in textbooks. They are still useful to understand where the resistance and support lines are, but everybody can read patterns. That is why they oftentimes don't work that well. But yeah, we're here at this support line at 36.6 pretty much. And if this one breaks to the downside, you're going to go down very fast, especially as here at 36.3 or 36.4, you've got this swing low of the wave B, yeah. So that is something worth keeping an eye on, or even, maybe I even labeled that wrongly, because it's probably more like that. That support is at 35.5. That is a key support. So put that on the chart, because that will be the next one actually, 35.5. Put that line on the chart. And then the next one after that will be 33. So two more very important support levels here that Bitcoin needs to go through before it may actually already then reach my my target area down here that we've been talking about since November. Of course, you know, it could be that it from here also starts a little bit of a move up. That danger or that risk is not over yet. If you think about why risk, well, because I think Bitcoin needs to get into this target area. It has done these things before in a wave 2 correction. It just needs to finish the correction clean. And after that, we can then look towards new all-time highs, right? So I'm waiting for us to get into this area for Bitcoin to do this important turnaround. It just needs to finish the correction. It needs to come below the wave A from June, below that low here that it triggered in June at 28.7K. Looking on the daily chart, yes, take a look at it. There is not much more room for further downside. So there is still some room, and it could go down a little bit lower. I'm not very sure if it will really reach the levels that it did reach here end of January, because it has really not been sold out or oversold that much since March 2020. I mean, it's doing these things, you know. Before that, in November 18 as well, it moved all the way down to even 10. But bear in mind, there's now more money, more capital in the crypto market. And however, it can drop lower. So there is still room for further downside on the daily chart here. The MACD is still pointing to the downside. On the monthly chart, we know that anyway. We still have that monthly MACD bearish crossover that we talked about as well. I think back in January or even December, that this is bearish. On the weekly chart, there is also further room for further downside here in December 18. Bitcoin dropped all the way down to 30 on the weekly chart. Now we are currently at around 40, though there is also more room for the downside, and on the 4-day chart as well. So don't think we're here at the end of the correction yet, not as per the indicators anyway. My view is at some point there will be another move up, maybe then a lower high. Otherwise, probably the indicators, they have to be brought up a little bit. Otherwise, I think they wouldn't support such a big sell-off that I expect. I mean, if it goes to 20K, you need to have some sort of a reaction price moves in between, right? Otherwise, the price won't go down into this price area. On the hourly chart, for example, you can see it was oversold already here. It has recovered since then, so it's still moving in the bearish range, but not oversold. So also in the short term, it could go down a little bit lower. On the 4-hour chart, also here already recovered a little bit from where it was here a couple of days ago. That is probably why, because it's here on the 4-hour chart a little bit oversold, why it has still held compared to the altcoins. But if Bitcoin really breaks loose here and breaks one of these two support lines, especially here the 35.5 to the downside, which it can do, it certainly has the probability is certainly there, and I do expect that to go that way anyway. The thing is, I can't tell you at the moment if this support line here is going to hold or not in this descending broadening wedge. If it doesn't hold, chances go higher that we also break here the 35.5K, and then we can really drop down fast. My primary expectation goes down anyway here in the direction of this wave 5. Now let's go to Cardano. Cardano actually, yeah, wow. Together with the altcoins, I mean, look at what the altcoins are doing here. Cardano 14%, Solana 12%, XRP 13.5%, Avalanche 14.5%. Made a video yesterday on that about that it's going to drop. If it drops below $75, we're going to see a huge price decrease. And a lot of cryptos have lost their key support levels. And if I'm correct, then Chainlink is also finally in my target area now. So it's crazy. Yeah, Cardano 15%. But take a look at what happened. Cardano broke out of this descending wedge. It lost a support level. And because of that, I think we are now dropping. Told you a few days ago, if it drops below 92 cents, which it did, even it was only a brief wick here that it lost. If we zoom in, you can see that. There was a wick here that moved to the downside. From there, yeah, we talked about it, that now the potential is quite large. That is also going to lose the 92 cent level, and it's pointing further down now. We then talked about that there is another support here around the 80 cent area. So if we do this line here, you can see those wicks here to the downside. There is a bit of an area of trade here going on back then in February 21, but it is not a Fibonacci level. I think if depending on how you draw the fibs, it might be one. But the next levels I'm watching out for is here 55 cents and 30 cents, the 78.6% fib level and the 88.7% fib level in this yellow target area. Yeah, we talked about that it's now very likely that we're going to reach these levels, and Cardano with its latest breaking of the support levels is marching in that direction very, very fast. So that's what I'm looking out for in here. Cardano will have a good chance to recover again. Especially the 30 cent level is a very, very important area of support. There has been a lot of support before, and also several wave count areas are meeting here. Okay, so that's the level I'm watching out for. And overall, yeah, I mean, not a good news here for the crypto market, but good news for my scenario and good news for what I've been expecting anyway, because it means that we're heading faster into the towards the end of the correction. So that's my view here on Bitcoin and Cardano. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please smash the like button and subscribe. If you want more content, check out the channel membership, bronze, silver or gold. You can find the details here on the YouTube page, on the join page, or on my website. And for that you can find the links in the description. And yeah, feel free to check that out. Hope you liked the update. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye bye.